Friday morning. Thanks so much for staying with us here on ARC Rochester. This morning, we want to take you behind the story.
Yeah, late last night, the House passed a rescissions package slicing over $1 billion in funding for public broadcasting. It will now be signed by President Trump, who says the cuts will best serve the taxpayer.
With reaction to this developing story, we are joined now by the president and CEO of WXXI, Chris Hastings. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
The last time we spoke about this, it was very much in a hypothetical place. So now seeing this more official action, what was your reaction to seeing this?
I'm be completely honest with you. I was saddened. I'm saddened because the American people had agreed to fund public media for the next 2 years, and it's being stripped away. So I am saddened that the process, the way it happened, went down. But I think right now I'm going to try to be optimistic about what we need to do in the future, because I think the mission still holds. They can take the money, but the mission is still here. What we do is so important and so vital right now. So I think I'm a little bit emboldened to operate in new ways, because the mission still holds. They can take the money, but the mission is there.
What does this mean for the average person? How will this affect them?
You know, at the moment, in the short term, everything that we're doing, we're going to continue to do. For the average person in Rochester, I think you won't see much difference in our service in the short term. But I think across the country, there are some services that are going to be at risk. In particular, our children's programming. Stations who buy into PBS, if they're not able to pay their fees, they might not be able to bring you children's programming. I'm not sure what that's going to be like across the country in the coming months. But I know here in Rochester, we're going to keep children's programming going. We're going to keep our news operation going. But I think in the months and the years ahead, as we continue to figure out what the wave looks like, we're going to have to really look at what services we're able to keep and what services we can't.
And to put things into perspective for viewers, we know that there are multiple funding sources for NPR, other public broadcasting. How big of an impact would taking away this federal funding have on those costs?
Well, when you think about how NPR and PBS are funded, they're mostly funded by stations. And we as stations, we take our appropriation and we purchase that content from PBS and NPR. So I think immediately, because we don't have that money coming in from CPB across the country, I would think it's going to affect them in ways that we just don't know yet. And it depends on every station situation is slightly different.
I know the day is still it's still very early. The day is young. I imagine you probably haven't spoken too much to your colleagues and those that you work with in this industry. But for the most part, what is the general reaction that you're picking up on? Is it anxiety? Is it sadness? Is it anger? Is it all of it?
I think it's mostly sadness. I mean, I think there's a level of anger, and I can't speak for all my colleagues, but I think what happened last night was building for months, if not years. And so we've worked really hard to stay really close on the issue. Even my internal staff, we've been meeting about the potential of this happening since I arrived literally 7 months ago. So I would say that while last night's vote was hard for many of us, and we're all on text messages and team chats and Zoom meetings, I think we're resolved to hold on to the mission. I think while we're sad today, tomorrow we continue to fight.
And I'm wondering, as Abby was saying, this is a developing story. We're learning new things each and every day. Has there been any sort of guidance from NPR, for example?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've been talking to NPR and PBS pretty actively through the process. We're really looking at how we sustain the system. I believe NPR is even trying to help some stations that are most at risk. I know our colleagues at PBS are working on things that sort of help with this transition and this process. I think what you have to remember is that while we're not officially a network, we're all very connected, and we're all talking and coming up with strategies to sustain the system. I think at the end of the day, the mission holds. And as we look at different ways to bring in revenue, we're all looking at different ways how to start local and really make sure that we're continuing to sustain the system.
What you just said there was pretty striking. The mission holds. Tell everybody what your mission is.
Our mission is to educate people with information. PBS is usually that first preschool teacher for many kids, but as we get older and we get into all the content, news, and Antiques Roadshow and Masterpiece, we're for generational learners, and I don't think whatever this cut means, I think we're going to hold to the mission of educating our community, all of our community, no matter where you come from. And at the core of it, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that we're a place for everybody's voice, but we're also going to make sure that we serve underrepresented audiences. That is the core mission of what public media is, and we're going to continue that work. We just might have to do it a little bit different, have a little bit of a different footprint, but we're hoping we're going to make some new partnerships. Many of you who are listening today, you might be members of WXXI. If you're not a sustaining member, I encourage you to go to wxxi.org/give and become a longtime partner to us. We hope the corporate community will come on and partner with us. I think what's important is the mission is what brings us together, and we're going to continue working that mission.
And really quickly, just wondering, we were talking a little bit about the short term before and how there won't be any sort of immediate impacts, but I'm wondering how soon, given that funding for 2 budget years has been severely cut, how soon and what sort of impact would that look like in the long run?
I don't want to put a number on it today, because again, as you said, this is still very fresh. I haven't had a chance to really speak with my team today, but I think, as we look ahead, we're actively looking at things day to day, week to week, month to month. And as changes come up, we're going to let the media know, we're going to let our members know, but most importantly, we're going to work with our staff and make sure they know before anybody knows.
Very good. Chris Hastings, thank you for your time today. We really, really appreciate it. And we'll keep our eye on this story, as I know you certainly will, and check 13wham.com for the latest updates.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.